This is the Canon RF 15-35 2.8. It's a must-have travel lens for any trip that you take. So quick story about this lens. The reason I bought it is because I needed a replacement to my EF 16-35 2.8. That was my previous wide-angle lens before it got destroyed by the Pacific Ocean. Me and my friends went on a trip to Cali just for fun, and we were on the beach. I wanted to get the drone up in the air, and so I decided to put my camera gear in a dry, safe spot on the beach, or so I thought. While I was flying the drone and getting this shot, a huge wave came out of nowhere and obliterated my 16-35 as well as my EOS R. It was a tragedy. It was my own fault, but I was in the market for a new wide-angle lens, so I decided to pick up the newer RF version. Since then, I've taken this RF 15-35 on a few trips now, and it has a lot more to offer than just that extra millimeter of focal length. First thing I've noticed when it comes to this lens is the build quality. It's built really well. It has that control ring that all the new RF lenses have. It's relatively pretty light for its size, and it has that fancy red ring around it as well that signifies it's a Pro Series lens. Now it does feel slightly plasticky when you compare it to some of the bulkier, bigger RF lenses such as the 85 1.2, 50 1.2, or even the 28-70 2.0, which are all very big, very heavy lenses. And after carrying those lenses around in my backpack, I'll take any weight cuts I can get. Now don't let the weight fool you, this lens definitely packs a punch. Like most of the other Pro Series RF lenses, it is weather sealed. Now, from experience, it won't survive a wipeout from a large saltwater wave, but it will handle some light rain, very cold or very hot temperatures pretty well. Something else to notice about this lens is that from 15-35, it's not an internal zoom, it is an external zoom. And that means the front part of the lens does extend when you zoom in and out. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this because if you shoot video and put it on a gimbal or a stabilizer, the external zoom makes it front heavy, making you need to rebalance the gimbal. Something new that this version of the lens has that the EF version didn't have is image stabilization. This comes in handy for both photo and for video. It can be turned on really quickly with the flick of the switch on the side of the lens, and it has really satisfying sound to it. Now this is most noticeable if you're walking around handheld shots at 15mm vlog style. And it's not too difficult to work around it. You'll just have to limit some of your movements, especially when you're all the way wide at 15. Now the wobble was a pretty big issue in the R5 and the R6 when it first came out, but ever since then Canon has released some firmware updates to help mitigate that wobble, and it is a lot better now. Now when looking strictly at the image quality of the lens, it is amazing. Now in both photo and video mode, you'll notice that the image is just as clear, just as sharp, whether you're at f2.8 or at f10, whether you're at 15 as the focal length or 35 as the focal length. The glass is really high quality, and what surprised me the most, compared to the EF at least, is how the edges do. When shooting at a very wide focal length like 15, usually the edges of the image are the first to lose its sharpness and its overall quality. This lens tackles those issues by keeping the edges sharp and minimizing on the distortion and the vignetting that you get at other wide focal lengths. And if you didn't know, the easiest fix to this is going into Lightroom, scrolling all the way down to lens calibration, and checking those boxes, and it'll get rid of pretty much all kinds of distortion and vignetting that you'll see. The one biggest downside of this lens though is definitely the price. This lens sits in with all the other Pro Series expensive RF glass at over $2,000. It is not an easy purchase. Now, Canon does offer a cheaper version of this lens, the 14-35 f4. That lens is over $800 cheaper than this one. You don't get the 2.8, you don't get the image stabilization, you get a little bit more distortion and vignetting around the edges, but you do get 1 more millimeter of focal length, 14-35 instead of 15-35. So it really is up to you at that point to see if the 15-35 is justified for the type of work that you do. If you're a professional that does this for brands or clients, then it may be a really good investment for the type of work that you do. But if you're more of a casual photographer that needs a wide angle lens when you travel and go on vacation, then that price tag might not be worth it. Let me know in the comments below if this lens is actually worth it for you for the type of stuff you do. If you want to check out the Canon 15-35 or any of the other gear I use, I have links down in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to the 5 people still watching, I'll see you next time.